Hi, I'm Sue with Women of Noble Character, and I am so happy to have with us today Mimi Sagadin. Mimi is one of the actresses, the lead actresses in the movie Summer of '67. So, Mimi, welcome. We're so happy to have you with us today. Why don't you tell our audience a little bit about you, your career, your life?
Well, I'm a woman. I pray to be after God's own heart. I uh, love Jesus. I'm married for 32 years. Just last
Oh,
week,
wonderful.
a mother of two sons, 27 and 24, and I have been privileged to follow my heart. God gave me the desire of my heart to be an actress and to fulfill that dream. It was a little girl dream that I had that I never shared until I was much older in life. And I met a friend at a Christian coffee house, and she encouraged me to pursue acting, and I had never heard that, before. And prior to that, I was 18 when I heard about, Jesus saving us, dying on the cross for me personally. I knew that growing up, but I never really experienced who Jesus was. I heard about him up here, but I never knew him here. And so prior to meeting my friend at this Christian coffee house, I'm kind of backtracking. I committed my life to the Lord. Somebody shared that uh, witness to me when I was in barber school. I'm actually a licensed barber, and
Oh,
I cut men's hair. I still do for over many, many decades. And so when I was in barber school, a dear friend who I know to this day witnessed to me. And so I accepted Christ as my Savior. But that made a big change in my life because now I didn't want to hang out and do things that I was doing, prior to being a Christian. And I was truly, looking for new friends and a new way to be a young person and have a good time without hitting the bars. So I went to a Christian coffee house, and this is where I met my best friend to this day, who was an actress at this Christian coffee house, and they did original dramas, original Bible story dramas, musicals actually. And
wow.
I was just a hostess because I was looking to, fellowship and build friendships, but all the while, looking and wishing that I could be on stage. And this friend of mine said, well, why can't you be on stage? Why can't you be an actor? And the words of encouragement were so powerful that nobody ever told me that. And we ended up going to Second City's original training ground called the Players Workshop of the Second City. And we took improv and sketch comedy classes through a 4-year program. And then we had our own improv troupe, and we did clean comedy, which is actually very difficult because
Mhm.
you have to be more creative. And we did that for over 8 years and performed in our church's coffee
Wow.
houses. And it was just a really fantastic time. And it was something that I always wanted to do. And God planted that in my heart, and he gave me that opportunity. And then as the years went on, I started to pursue film.
Wow, that's fabulous. Um, And I love the whole idea of Christian comedy and improv. It's not really something that you see a whole lot of. A
No,
lot of the comedy is, kind of R-rated or even worse. And yeah,
it's
that's really fabulous. Are you still um, doing the improv or Christian comedy?
I'm not, but I want to. I love it. That is really my heart. I love to make people laugh on stage. I did get a really unusual opportunity to be in a stage play last fall here in Chicago. That was a comedy, a clean comedy, and I got a Boston dowager from the turn of the century, turn of the 20th century during the Chicago World's Fair, and it was a blast.
Wow.
It just brought me back to my original prep days and comedic days. I just love that. But there's not a lot out there, and I do encourage when I do these uh, workshops, at these Christian festivals. I encourage those that have a gift for because it's needed in the Christian genre.
I agree. You talked about that's how you got your start, and then you pursued film opportunities. How did you make that transition? What was your first film? And tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about that.
Well, I always was enthralled as a little girl with beautiful musicals. My mom really introduced me to that world. West Side Story, The King and
Oh,
I,
yeah,
Funny Girl. I always was enthralled with the beautiful costumes and the magic behind these films and how they did what they did. So I had that desire when I was doing improv, and I started to do extra work here in Chicago and was really learning and watching from behind the scenes how a film set works, which is very different from theater.
sure.
And I was really enthralled with the movie magic. And I started to do more extra work. I got featured roles. And then a breakout opportunity came when I was cast as a stand-in for Emma Thompson in
Oh,
a movie called Stranger Than Fiction. And it was a big Hollywood movie that I was on set for 5 weeks as Emma Thompson stand-in. A stand-in is somebody that is the same height and coloring as the main actor, but you stand in when the crew is doing all the lighting. Every scene that you see it is lit, and it takes sometimes hours to do that in between, not necessarily hours, but maybe half an hour, 45 minutes. So when they're changing the camera and resetting the set, the main actor goes back to their trailer, and then the stand-in is there and blocking their moves so the director of photography can see how the lighting is. And so I was her stand-in for 5 weeks. I
wow,
got to work with her and Dustin Hoffman and Will Ferrell and Queen
wow.
Latifah. And it was just a phenomenal experience. And I just was, I felt like I was in my realm. But the best part of it is that, I knew that God wanted me to be an ambassador for Christ in that industry, especially in film. And I took it very seriously. So actually, Queen Latifah's stand-in happened to be a Christian. And we had such an amazing opportunity to pray on set for different opportunities. And some really cool things have happened. We're witnessing and taking
Mm,
swear words out of the script from our prayers, and just opportunities to talk to a missionary kid that wasn't walking with the Lord that I got a chance to talk to. So that's exciting when you know that God has given you the desire of your heart and you're getting to do, what you love to do and do it for Him. And so that opportunity opened up other doors for other film work here in Chicago. And then my breakout role happened when I was cast as Corrie Ten Boom in Return to the Hiding Place.
wow. I did read a little bit of that on your bio, but what an amazing opportunity to, as you said, do what you're doing for His glory. So to live your dream that He placed in your heart
Yeah.
and do it to share the gospel as well, and impact the cast and the crew with your prayers. That's fantastic.
It's a ministry,
Exciting.
but yet it comes so naturally.
Uh-huh.
And when I mean, being cast as Corrie Ten Boom was a miracle. It was just very. I know that I serve a living God because it makes no sense. But for me to portray and be cast as this Christian giant,
Mhm.
and yet it's in a movie, and so it's both of my desires, to be an actress, for the Lord, and then portray this Christian giant. It truly was a Moses, on the mountain moment, being in the presence of God. I really felt the presence of God like I never felt before, because the opportunity to be offered that role was truly a gift given from my Lord, and I'm to this day pretty astounded that He chose me. So I'm really grateful for that.
Is your family supportive of your acting career?
Yes, it took a while, for them to be on board. It's it's a it's looked at as more of a hobby, and you don't make a living at it. unless you're one of the 1% in Hollywood. So it's not done for the money. It's done for the love of the craft and a calling as a Christian. So yes, my husband is supportive. I think when he heard that I wanted to be an ambassador for Christ in the arts, in film and theater. But I think when I was cast as Corrie Ten Boom, that really solidified and confirmed to him as well that it truly was from God.
This is the real deal here. So let's take a moment to talk a little bit about Summer of '67. Just give us a quick overview from your perspective of the film.
It's a film that takes place during 1967, during the Vietnam War, and it's from the perspective of the women, actually, that are left behind during the war. So I'm a mother whose son goes off. The daughter-in-law is living with me, so she's losing her husband to the war. And then there's two other leads that their boyfriends and their boyfriends and prospective husband, I believe, go off to war. So it's just what life is like when your boys are off to war during that period, and what we go through.
You play the role of Joanna. Tell us a little bit about Joanna and how you prepared to portray her in the film.
Yeah, she was a very challenging character because she's a nutball. She's kind of kooky, and I had to justify why. And so I did a lot of backstory. I do that with my characters, but because she was truly fictional, a lot of backstory was that she just was she had a lot of loss in her life prior to her son going off, and was insecure, very insecure. And so wants love. She definitely wants love, and she doesn't go about it, which often we don't. When you are hurting and you are lost, it comes out in negative ways. So I developed it in that, with that angle in mind.
So was that like talking with Sharon and Fred and the writers about what you envisioned for this role, what you thought?
Yes, I did talk. Oftentimes you will get that script, and it's nice when you can collaborate with the director. And I did talk to Sharon, absolutely, about Joanna. And but she was challenging. She was challenging to portray.
I'm sure there were a few scenes in the movie when I was taken aback by her response to, or how she interacted with the daughter-in-law. And
she blamed her daughter-in-law.
She did.
For her son going off to war, even if it wasn't really true. Right. But in Joanna's mind, if it wasn't for her daughter-in-law, then that she would have her son.
It really is a snapshot of, my ministry is working with Christian wives specifically. And I hear so often stories about mothers-in-law who have those negative responses, and those relationships are not good. And sometimes it's the mother-in-law who blames the daughter-in-law, and sometimes there's other underlying issues or histories that you bring into the relationship. And I thought that particular relationship really was a snapshot of what we hear and see so often. Wow. And it's sad. It really is.
It is sad. And I don't have daughter-in-laws yet, but boy, it's making me think,
Yeah, I am very blessed that I have one daughter-in-law, well, two daughters-in-law, and get along with them both wonderfully. And I am blessed to have probably the world's greatest mother-in-law. If you could write a job description for the perfect mother-in-law, this woman would exceed it.
Well, I think we're tied.
We'll call it a tie.
Is amazing. She'll be 90 this year, and she is the most content woman I've ever met in my life, most content, positive woman I've ever met in my life. So a shout out to my mother-in-law, Shirley, and your mother-in-law. It's truly a blessing, isn't it?
It sure is. It absolutely is. And it is fairly rare, from what I'm hearing, to have that relationship. Um, is there any of Joanna in you or vice versa?
Can we end it now?
You don't have to spill all your secrets, but
Yeah, of course. There's just we all have, and I have, places of um of hurt, from when I was a little girl. And unfortunately, that is like a lifelong process. So sometimes, if I'm tired or, I'm looking, to be a woman after God's own heart. I am a woman after his heart, but I don't always act that way. So yeah, I definitely, you know, things I would do that Joanna has done. Hopefully not to that extreme.
I think that we always have those days, and the hurts, we may be able to manage them, but they're always there. And there are
Yeah.
certain things that can trigger us, and being tired or certain environments that will kind of bring up those feelings in us again. And those are the times, and I have experienced a lot in my own life and been feeling very attacked lately. And that's really just when I have to say, enemy, get out of my life. I know it is you rearing your ugly head here. God's
Right,
got this, and He's way
right,
bigger than you.
right. I know. It's spiritual warfare is real, and that really is something that we have to battle and be in the Word daily. And I'm in a great study at my church, a woman's study, and it's been about contentment.
Mm,
It has been so powerful and has just showed how that it the teacher, my pastor of the women's study, she said we're reading in Peter, where godliness without with you can be godly without contentment, but true godliness has contentment.
right.
So that's really what I want is I want to be I want godliness with contentment, not. And so that's something that has opened up my eyes. And
I'm sure, that's such a disease in our society. No one's content. We want everything. We want it now. We're always looking for the something that's shinier and brighter. And um, yeah, that sounds like a great study. I may have to
it,
look that
it
one up.
is.
So,
It really is just just comparing and wanting what other people have, and you don't really feel like it's sin. It's not blatant sin, but there's something going on, and generally it's that we're just not trusting God with our situation. You just kind of put it on like, well, look at what they have, or they don't have to do this, or but it's really like you're not trusting the Lord. And so that's really something that I want to aspire to.
yeah, that's a good point. Um, so, a little bit more about Summer of '67. What was it that made you look at the script or see the casting call and say, yeah, that's really a film that I want to be a part of?
The era is really fun, and the really the character of Joanna for me was very different. um, she had just has a lot of layers, and she has this great arc, and I like that she goes through this different stages, and I see you know redemption in her life. And I think it's a great picture of you know realizing your messiness, and really being having nowhere else to go but God, and then letting him work in your life after that. So I really like the journey that Joanna took, and the costumes
Oh yeah,
were
we're fun.
were really fun. So
Yeah. What was your favorite part about filming the movie?
the costumes.
Yeah.
Seriously, I'm a girly girl and love color and
Right.
frou-frou, and it was, and the Sharon is just so creative, and she did such a fantastic job with the sets and creating, this 1967 world. And and it was filmed in her home, which is really this dynamite
Very cool.
Victorian home. And just the cast and the crew were so much fun. I mean, to be on a Christian movie is a slice of heaven. Seriously, it's just, you're with other creatives that love the Lord, and it is so it's unreal, and you're in this little bubble, for the time that you're filming. And so it was the whole experience was really fun.
I got a kick out of the go-go boots. We used to call them that Kate wore, and the knitted baby clothes. It
Oh
just brought me right back to when I was a kid, and I had those and had
no,
those go-go boots, and I'm sure there's photos somewhere in the photo albums of it. But really brought me back. Really phenomenal. Um, what's the word? The sets and the
yeah,
costuming. Really enjoyed that.
I
Oh,
know. I
what would you say is one lesson that you've learned from acting, that acting has taught you?
hmm, what one lesson? um, to not hold on too tightly to that idle easy
Uh-huh.
to be made, especially in this industry. It's a very,
Sure.
very tough industry to not make it an idol, because you're constantly looking gig, and that can be overwhelming. And so it's taught me that I make idols out of my acting at times, and other things. And so just to be alert.
Right.
I don't always do a good job at it, but I
Well,
want
he's
to.
working in us, right?
I hope,
What's
yes.
one takeaway that you hope people get from this film?
Um, that that God is always present in he in the good times, but he walks through the fire with us. He doesn't always keep us from the fire,
Right.
but he walks through the fire with us. And that he's a God of forgiveness and redemption. So
Amen.
yeah, that's what I think one of the few takeaways.
What's what's next for you? Do you have any upcoming projects that you'd like to tell us about?
I'm just actually I'm auditioning. I have a couple of auditions that I'm really praying about will come to something. And I'm doing a cool little stage project, and it's uh, a fundraiser for a homeless ministry, not a ministry per se. It's just it's a shelter here in Chicago, and they're doing a fundraiser at one of the top theaters here in Chicago called the Goodman Theater. And it's called the Homeless Monologue. So there's 15 actors doing a monologue about the journey of one of the people that went through the program. And so I'm doing that next Monday. And it's a great opportunity because we're going to be on the stage at this very prestigious theater. But yeah, I'm doing that. And I've auditioned. I do some voiceover work that I've been getting some gigs on. And I have an industrial shoot for a medical company. So as an actor, you have agents, and they send you out on all different kinds of auditions, and sometimes it's voice, sometimes it's industrials, commercials. So you can always be praying for me, audience.
That was one of my questions. I'll ask it now. How can we pray for you?
Yeah, I would really just appreciate the prayer for just the Lord to open up the doors that He wants for me, and that if there's anything preventing it, that God, if it's God's will, that He would just open those doors and open the opportunities, and that I would be excellent at my craft. I want to be, just a wonderful example of the giftings, that He's given to me. So I just want to be excellent at my craft, and just to be able to use my gifting to share Jesus Christ, with a hurting world. I want to do projects that give hope to the audience, and so that's really what I go after. And I just pray for those opportunities to be around.
Okay, well, I will certainly keep you in prayer. And in the text portion of this post, which accompanies the video, we will certainly ask our audience to keep you in prayer. We have amazing prayer warriors that follow women of noble character. That's great.
Thank
So
you.
you ready for some fun tidbits to wrap up?
Sure.
Okay, none are too painful, I promise.
Okay.
Okay, and you may not have them memorized, and you may have more than one, but what is one of your favorite Bible verses?
One of my favorites is it's actually Proverbs 3:5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. So that was one of the first verses that I memorized, and I do love that. And
That was my very first verse that I ever memorized when I was saved.
really, yeah. So
Yes.
me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
And,
I love Proverbs. I love Psalms.
mhm.
But I also love, for my calling, it's 2 Corinthians 5:20. It's we are therefore Christ's ambassadors, as though God were. I'm going to paraphrase it, but I've got my Bible here. But it's talking about that we are therefore Christ's ambassadors, as though God were making His appeal through us, telling the world to be reconciled to God. So I feel like as an actress,
Yes.
God has called me to be His ambassador. So I hang on to that verse, Christ's ambassador to a hurting world, reconciled to God, and I want to do that through my film work.
I love that. Love it. What is one television show that you just can't miss?
Well, when I do sit down and watch, which is not very often, but my husband and I, we do like Blue Bloods.
Oh, okay.
It's just, there's not much on TV that I could really say I really love, although I don't give a lot chances because I don't have the time just to watch. I hear there's some good ones out there, but Blue Bloods is good because it's family oriented. They pray. They actually pray at dinner. There's Irish family, policemen, a couple of policemen, and Commissioner Tom Selleck, and it's just a really. And the fact that they would even pray, and it just really shows a beautiful and just a nice show. And I really am happy to do it. I think it's going into their 9th season, so praise the Lord for that. So yeah, we do like that.
Great. I have not watched that one, but I keep hearing how good it is, so I might have to check it out.
It's a really good
What's one book that you're currently reading, or a great book that you've recently read? Besides the Bible, of course.
Yes. Well, I still go through a book by Kay Arthur and her son, How to Get Spiritual Days. And it's just this wonderful book about, reading the Word, and she just has some excellent ideas on how to just color code certain words just to really make it, make it stick with you. So I'm still reading that. It's taken me way longer than 28 days, but I do
Life happens.
really enjoy it. Yeah, I just take my time, and because I'm learning and getting so much out of it, and it's really my Bible study.
The very first Bible study I ever participated in was an inductive Bible study by Kay Arthur.
Right. Well,
No one told me that I should have started with an easy one first. It felt like a college course, but boy, did I get a lot out of it. So,
yeah, she's fantastic.
what would be a dream vacation for you?
Oh boy. Well, my husband and I, we would love to do one of those Viking cruises on the river, So we do watch PBS often. A lot of these, there's some good British shows, and they're always advertising the Viking cruise line, and it looks gorgeous. So that would be a real dream. And a trip to Israel. It's really something that we've talked about wanting to do. I think it would probably be actually the first place that we would.
I would agree. That one's high on my list too. What's one guilty pleasure that you have?
Guilty pleasure. I like chocolate. It's a guilty pleasure. I love to dance. And I still do. I still take ballet.
Really?
I
That's
think
awesome.
if I wasn't an actress, I would have been a dancer, but the discipline of that is, and the longevity of it is so short. So, but I love to dance all forms. So I could rip up the floor pretty good.
There you go. We're blessed to incorporate dance into our worship service on occasion.
Oh, are you?
And it's often some of the teenagers or younger girls who study dance and use dance as a form of worship, and it is absolutely amazing and
no
moving.
better way. I've had the opportunity to do that at some of our women's retreats. I don't do it anymore, but there's nothing like dance during worship. I feel like it's an expression of the soul, and that's so cool that you guys do that. Oh wow,
It's
nice.
a beautiful experience. I always look forward to it when we know we have our dancers there to participate in worship.
I'm going to make a little plug. I've been involved for 20 years with this Christian arts conference. Actually, I should have mentioned it earlier because that is really where I got my confirmation to go forward to be an artist for Christ. So when I met my friend and she said, you could be an actress too, back, in my early 20s, we went to this arts conference here in Chicago called Caritas, Karitos. And it was there 20 something years ago. They said that their theme was reclaiming the arts for Christ.
Wow.
And all the arts, not just acting, but dance is a big part of it, and music and painting. And so every year it's still going on. I was on this film and drama department head for years, and I still am. But it's here it's going to be in Milwaukee this year. If you're interested, we could put some information up about it. But
I think that would be great. I also have taught, and I'm debating teaching another art journaling as a form of worship. So I've done mixed media art as part of worship. So I would love to share that information with my audience. I know we have a number that are Bible journalers and art journalists, painters, singers, all over. So that would be great information to share. Please do send that to me, and we'll include it in the video, below the video. Great. Wonderful. Well, that's all I had today. I thank you so much for sitting down and talking with us about your life, your career, about the movie. I know everyone's excited to see it. We'll also have some links to get more information on the movie underneath this video.
I forgot to say that there is going to be Nashville, June 29th. There is going to be a Nashville premiere of Summer of '67. So if you go to the Summer of 67 Facebook page or summerof67.com, there'll be information about the release. So that's,
Okay, I didn't realize that was open to the public, so
yeah.
we'll definitely get the word out.
And there's also going to be a special screening in Bowling Green, the Bowling Green Train Museum where we filmed.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be in September. So have your audience go and visit our Facebook page and our website, Summer of 67. So
Absolutely.
we're really excited.
That's great. We will include links for the film to Twitter and Facebook and the film website as well as the trailer. So
Cool.
people can get a little sneak peek of what to expect. So thank you so much. I wish you a wonderful, blessed day. And,
Thanks for your time. You're a great interviewer, and God bless you and what you're doing and encouraging women to be of noble character. It's we need it.
thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.